I heard you say something that really piqued my interest, that insulin resistance can cause a lymphatic issue or cause lymphedema, right?
Yes, yes. So interestingly, insulin resistance increases your fluid load. So say you've already got excessive fluid and now you also have insulin resistance, you're going to increase that fluid load. So you have even more fluid that you have to get rid of, that your lymphatic system is already overwhelmed. It's already leaving it behind. So yes. And so what causes insulin resistance? Eating carbs, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And carbs are all plants. So you decrease eating that, and you can do something about your insulin resistance and then do something about your lymphedema, right?
Right. And that's what drives me crazy about the standard American diet and dietitian diet, information they'd have you to lose weight. They don't directly tell you to eat a bunch of carbs, but they tell you don't eat red meat, don't eat fat, they can tell you all the don'ts.
Right, right.
But all that's left is the carbs.
And they do sell you to eat plants because they always say eat lots of fruits and
Yeah,
vegetables,
true.
whole grains. I mean, if any food is not meant for humans, it's grains, okay? And so that is, and they refuse to go back on that advice. The more you discuss it, the more they double down on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and reading Jason Fung's literature and stuff, and he talks about, how we have an epidemic of obese, like 6-month-old babies now, being born.
Yeah. And they should be eating less and moving more.
Yeah, right. And insulin resistant, right? Because I think he believes that it's from insulin resistance in the womb. Insulin's not transferable through the to the baby, but the glucose levels are, and so it's a little poor baby pancreas is dealing with that high, crazy level of glucose. So we're having babies come out of the womb insulin resistant, which I think was my problem because I was big from the time I was born.
Yes.
And then I tracked that down too. I'm the youngest of 6 kids, but I'm by far the heaviest. But as my mom's diet got worse and got more sugar,
I'm sure she had gestational diabetes.
Yeah. All the kids got bigger, right?
Yeah.
And I was the prize winner there, but it just, everybody got so huge. And I was like, well, clearly this is a direct link to mom's diet and that diabetes and what was happening to us in the womb. And then when we came out, we are a direct representation almost. If you did a pie chart of how much sugar mom was eating, it would correspond with the size of me and my brothers, and siblings as mom's diet got worse. And so I was like, I could literally see in my own family Jason Fung's theory on that playing out. I was like, holy cow, that's real.
The larger that you get, the more fat that proliferates, is causing more fluid to pool, partly because of the insulin resistance, and the other part just because we don't have good circulation with all the excessive fat. So now we're getting more fluid to pool. That's telling more fat to be produced. And so now it's causing this snowball effect of getting you larger and larger with a whole ton of extra fluid. And now we're damaging the lymphatic system. And my new theory is that we're actually damaging the lymphatics in the trunk. And that trunk is now, we're leaking out of that lymphatic system. It should be transporting and taking the fluid out of the tissues and getting it to the blood circulatory system. But instead it's leaking into the trunk, and it's going to go to that lowest point, the lower point of your belly. And it's actually going to stretch that skin out, and it's going to contribute to forming that apron that can stretch. Well, some people have it down to their knees. Just the weight of that fluid causing more fat to collect. Come on in, join the party here. And that just stretches the skin out. So you have, it's like, what can you do now? How do you stop that from that cycle from proliferating, unless you change how you eat and you cut out the carbs, you cut out the plants, a lot of the plants.
Right. Well, and then that brings me to another question. I'm getting very excited to get skin reduction surgery, not because I'm going to look better, but because I will stop being this camel reserve for fluid to gather in.
Yes. You're just this reservoir waiting to fill up. So yes, I think that it is medically necessary that when you, however you lost the weight, if you have a lot of redundant skin, maybe you have really, you've had some lobules on particularly the medial thigh, and then that belly that made that apron. You lose a lot of that weight. Maybe you did it with carnivore, maybe you did it with bariatric surgery, but now you've got all that excess skin that wants to refill first with fluid, not with fat. You're going to fill it up with fluid. And so it's medically necessary. That is, it's an infection waiting to happen. I don't know, have any of you been in the hospital because of like cellulitis infection in those areas?
Many times.
Yeah. It's life-threatening. So this is medically necessary and absolutely should be covered. It's just not cosmetic. It'll definitely, I'm sure it will make you look better, but it is at first, this is medically necessary.